Hello YouTube and witches, how are you today? It is beautiful here in Rome, New York today, and I am just soaking up the weather, the sun, and nature back in my secret little place by the water, and it's just beautiful. Really enjoying it today. Well, on a video yesterday, I received a comment asking about invocation, which is a really good question. What is invocation? What's evocation? And what is the difference between the two, and how do you do it? Well, let's explore that. I have my handy book of shadows here. And when I was studying it, I wrote a few things about it in my book of shadows. Shh, secret. So I'll read a few things off that for you and we'll discuss this. So invocation. When you invoke an entity, spirit, energy, deity, or one of the elements, also known as one of the quarters, you are calling them inside of you. They become you. You become connected with them in your ritual, your circle, or whatever practice you're working on. So that is a very powerful use and aid, and you really want to know what you're doing when you do this. You want to know everything about the deity. You want to make sure you understand the elements and their power, and what kind of power you're bringing into yourself and your ritual. So a lot of people that have invoked these entities, by the way, say that afterwards they felt like they had more knowledge of the subject they invoked them for. So that is a good positive thing. We definitely want to be wiser to the craft and in our practicing. You don't want to invoke more than one energy at a time. That means if you're alone and you're doing this, you don't want to call all the elements into you at once. That's an overcharge, that could be a disaster, and that's a lot of power for one person. It may sound intriguing, but it really can end not well for you. And that is the basic of invocation. Now, evocation. Evoking a entity, spirit, deity, the elements, same things. You are just calling them into your ritual to aid you. You're calling them to be there with you, be by you while you're doing this. If you have some other people in your ritual with you while you're doing this, each can represent a different entity. But like I said, it's never good to do it by yourself, calling on all of them. Yeah, so in necromancy, I often evoke spirits to get answers or information from and then banish them. I rarely call them into me, invoke them. That can be dangerous, and you got to be pretty skilled in practice when you do mediumship to that elevation, but that is for a different topic. Now, how do I invoke and evoke? Well, I have an example I wrote down here for you. And remember, your spells, rituals, your invocation or evocation, what you put out there verbally, you want to make sure it comes from the heart. You want to make sure it comes from you. It's a lot more powerful. But an example of an invocation, say I was invoking water, I would say something along the lines of, water quarter of the west and cleansing source of my body, I evoke thee to my circle, ritual, and ask you to protect and wash away any negativity that may hinder me in my workings. Beautiful source of nature, the earth, I invoke thee, water. Come be with me at this sacred time. That's just an example of an evocation. Sorry, not invoke, evoke, where you're calling them to aid you. Sorry, I heard something kind of creep me out. And always remember during this, you want to focus and have your intent set and visualization. Those 3 things are always important in every working or practice you do. So an example of invocation now. Sorry guys, easily mixed. So I would say something along the lines, I'm not going to say a deity's name just out of respect since this is an example. I would say something like, great goddess of, and I would insert things of relation to them or corresponding to them. So say it was Hecate, I would say great goddess, torchbearer, keeper of the keys, you know, etc. I respectfully and humbly call you into my heart, mind, and body. Hear my calling, deity's name, and ascend into my earth's realm. I invoke thee, deity's name, come into me. You know, these are just examples. You can kind of write it any way you want, formally and respectfully. Visualize all as you work. You should feel energized. Even if nothing happens, keep going. You will eventually get a sign, and you will eventually get it. So that is the difference between invoke and evoke. Remember, invoke, you're calling them in. Evoke, you're calling them to aid. I really hope this helps. Sorry it's a little screwy today, this video. My mind is just everywhere. Alright, well, if this helped or you have any more suggestions, hit like and subscribe and leave me a comment. And I hope all of you love, light, and blessings today.